Hello and welcome. My name's Connor Scholes, and I am taking over the emceeing part of this video series so that you can get a better look at the man behind a lot of the things that happen with our camera, Jonathan Polasek.
Hello.
And so it's good to have you on your show.
It's not a show, Connor.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Not a show.
But no, we've just been going through and kind of giving just a background and behind the scenes on all of our staff members so that you can get to know them better and just kind of understand their heart and who they are and what's behind that. And so we're just going to dive in and have a conversation where Jonathan gets shared a little bit about that. So Jonathan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm the media director here at the church, 28 years old. Yeah, that's right, 28.
Youngin'.
Yeah, it feels weird because I feel like it was just 27 and then COVID hit and then like birthday happened and you kind of forget that you lived a year. Mm-hmm. So 28, married to my beautiful wife, Rebecca, for 5.5 years now. We're going on 6. You were there in Shawnee, America, Oklahoma. And we have 2 dogs, Mizzy and Mocha, and no kids yet. But yeah, from Pampa, Texas, just small town.
This is something we have in common.
Yeah,
your town also might be on the edge of nowhere.
Yeah, it's if you look at the state of Texas, it's that square part at the top. That's really the only way I can give you a direction of where it's at. And people are like, you people from Texas don't like the cold weather. And I'm like, well, where I'm from, it's very similar to Kansas City weather.
Exactly.
So, yeah, from Pampa, Texas, grew up there. Technically was born in Lubbock, Texas, but then graduated from Pampa High School in 2011. Then went to OBU, where I met my wife. And, graduated in 2015 and got married in 2015. So, yeah, that's a bit about me.
So tell us about growing up in Pampa, Texas.
It was like living in the late 1980s, early 1990s is how I would, Matt Brown asked me, what is it like to live in a small town? I'm like, think of it like 15 years ago, because really the big things of life, like traffic doesn't exist. You have your typical McDonald's, Taco Bell. If you're blessed, you get Brahms, which those of you who know, you know.
You had Sonic, though, right?
We had Sonic, yeah. Sonic was there. But, there were only 2 or 3 restaurants, actual restaurants around. And, most of them were closed on Sundays because that's just how it was. But, yeah, 16,000 people, grew up in First Baptist Church, Pampa, and loved every second of it. My mom was a secretary at the church until I was like 9. And then both my parents became teachers whenever I was 9 years old. And so, Dad's about to retire. Mom passed away in 2017. But yeah, it was a great life. And then obviously going to Oklahoma, Shawnee was fantastic. And then meeting my wife that I really, still to this day am extremely blessed that somehow God led her to me.
Yes, you are.
Because,
we all are. Okay,
I tell her all the time.
That's a blanket statement for all of us.
Yeah, all of us men, we're very blessed to have the women that we have because they do a great job of keeping us grounded and, and encouraging us too. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So, in Texas,
mm-hmm.
Some sports hold a little more sway than others.
Yeah.
Like soccer, I'm sure was big there.
Oh, yeah, massive.
But tell us about your sports life.
So anything you can imagine, I played as far as team sports, football, basketball, golf was something that I came into high school because I didn't want to run track. For those of you who have listened to like this guy's interview and Matthias's interview about running and like, oh, it's so much fun. I did not experience that. I would have rather walked on a golf course and enjoyed my time hitting a golf ball. And so those 3 things were really fun. Played all the way up, got to be quarterback my whole life, got a lot of concussions, which is not great. Got to have a deep run in basketball in high school, which was probably still to this day one of my fondest memories of school. And then, golf was just like, it was a release. You could go out and enjoy. That's really probably where I still feel God worked the most. Like, Matthias talked about how he finds his peace running. I find my peace pretty much. I can be by myself on the golf course and seeing God's beauty. Played a lot of golf with my granddad and my mom growing up, and so like that's where I still feel like I have those memories with both of them. So I loved everything about growing up in West Texas, and now being in Kansas City. It's not too different, as opposed to like there's occasional traffic.
Right. Yeah.
It's a little annoying.
So tell us about what brought you to the gathering.
Quite a story. The man that you're looking at right here is a big reason why. Obviously, God working through things is bigger than that. But I left OBU and did some broadcasting stuff. Studied to do broadcasting and had a church music minor at OBU, and did 2 years in Amarillo, Texas, which was a blast. It was like the home station that I grew up watching, and so got to cover the teams that I played in my hometown, and so that was amazing. And then went to Topeka, Kansas for a year and covered like Connor's Jayhawks, who he loves so much,
Yes.
and K-State, and got to follow those teams around. And experiencing like Allen Fieldhouse for the first time was incredible. And then felt a pretty strong calling that Topeka was no longer the place I was supposed to be. And so, talking with Connor, I had done some part-time stuff whenever the merger had happened. The first video I did was whenever we were trying to choose a name for the joint campuses, right? Whenever we were becoming one church. And so that was the first video I did. And then whenever Connor realized that I was pretty much getting out of broadcasting, he said, well, let's see what we can do as far as a full-time position at the church. And I was amazed that you guys even wanted me. So then, through some timing and some work, about 8 months later, I'd started full-time. And so it's officially 2 years now.
Isn't that crazy?
At the end of March. So yeah, very close to 2 years. Yep. So that's how I got here.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us about your faith journey.
Man, First Baptist Church, Pampa, Texas was amazing, and enjoyed everything about going to youth group and understanding that Jesus was a really good dude. Like just in general, like he loved me whenever there was a lot of things that I knew I had done wrong, even as a kid, and so. Came to the faith. Jesus, he made a pretty strong impression that I needed him pretty early in life, and so was baptized and came to faith in 1998, and so since then, Jesus works. I didn't have a tough life, right? There just was not. There was, and it's more than a lot of people can say. I didn't have a tough childhood. I didn't have a tough, college life. My first real encounter with, some pretty deep stuff was whenever my mom passed in 2017. Mm-hmm. And I remember that day as being probably the most influential day of my life with Christ, because that was whenever I was like, I don't understand why my mom's gone. And since then, which has been about 3 years, he's continued to show me that he loved my mom, and she's with him, which is amazing. And I can't wait to see her again one day. But, there were a lot of things that I needed to have light shown upon in my life. And so, and he's done that in gentle and abrupt ways. Mm-hmm. And, God is very good in that. So that's how we're here today.
Cool. So, because this, honestly, your kind of tenure at the gathering is a lot shorter than some of the other folks. Like Matt grew up in the church, and a lot of us have been around a while. Like, what to you, when you look at the gathering, what is something you would tell people, hey, this is why it's so neat to be a part of this church?
So there's probably two things for me. One of them is, and I've mentioned this in prior videos, Pastor Francis officiated my wedding. Connor was singing at my wedding, and along with his wife, who did a great job and was one of my wife's bridesmaids. And so getting to know even the other guys that, you guys are watching these videos on, the 7 of you guys love shepherding the people who are here. And Jesus has done work in all of you guys to prepare to guide these folks. And so I think it's special where there's an open door policy, where if somebody needs to come talk to you and say, I really need to talk to Connor Scholes, you're going to be at the Nolan Road campus Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. or on your cell phone all the time, right? And so it's like if I needed to reach out to one of you guys would answer, and it's the same thing for the members. I think it's an open door policy. If you need something, you're there for them, right? And then the second thing is I talked with Matt, is it's a generational church. Like my mother-in-law went to the church whenever she was pregnant with my wife, and then my wife grew up in the church with Matt Brown, right? Like, they grew up together. And my first time at Nolan Road Baptist before it came the gathering was in 2012. Rebecca brought me home to meet her family, and she sought it as so much more important to also meet her church family.
Right.
And immediately I was like, you and Francis came up and met me, and instant friendships. And, there's just, that doesn't happen a lot of places. Mm-hmm. And for some people it does, and that's where, God leads them. Right. But it was just different. And I knew that if we were lucky enough to live here one day, that we would be going to church here. I didn't know I was going to be working here. So
God has a sense of humor sometimes.
He does. Right. Well, because I was like, I would just love to get back to Kansas City and be on the TV and have, my wife's dream job here too. And he just said, joke's on you, man. You get to work at the church now. And it's been amazing. So yeah.
It's awesome. Well, we thank you for being a part of all of these interviews, and we encourage you, take the time to get to know all of us. And really what Jonathan said is true. We do love to walk with and be a part of our church community, because we're all walking together. There's no people above other people. We're just equals walking through this life with Jesus and with each other, and we want to be a part of that with you. So we encourage you to find out more about us, and then just to laugh with us, ask questions with us, and walk with us. So thanks for being a part of this, and we really appreciate you being a part of the Gathering Baptist Church.